Hi, Priyanka, and welcome to this show where, as I told you earlier, we get women trailblazers, women achievers to talk about the journey of their lives, to tell us about the challenges they may have faced along the way, the ups and downs, their achievements and accomplishments, so that the women who are listening in get inspired and motivated to, get out of whatever is holding them back and realizing their potential. And eventually, we want to build a community of women who are there to support, empower, mentor, and be there for each other. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sangeeta. Thank you so much. I'm really feeling very privileged right now because when I got to know about this concept and the endeavor that you have, I think I was more than ready to jump onto the bandwagon, and I think it's a very nice thought. I'd say that there are a lot of people who would want to join you in this journey towards women empowerment. And
Mhm.
though maybe in the whole scheme of things, it might be a small effort, but it is worth it. Absolutely. So thank you. Thank you for
I,
having me
I
here.
totally agree with you. Any little thing that we do, it may be a drop in the ocean, but ultimately, it's all the drops together that make the ocean. So, yeah. All right. So let's dive in and tell us a bit about your childhood, your early life, and how that shaped you into, the kind of person that you are today.
Okay, and because I know I can be candid here because all the women listeners, I would particularly call them as women listeners. I'd really want them to hear it out. So my childhood has been very protective, very, very protective. I come from a whole big, large sort of khandan, as they say, and it was all relatives around. So it was a very protected environment, very protected childhood, I'd say. Uh, in a way it was a bad thing. It turned out to be a bad thing for me because I was getting everything served in a platter, which of course at a later stage we do realize that it was probably not something that we wanted for. So I was never exposed to the realities of the world, and as they call it. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, that kind of led me into what how I grew up. Um, I was very shallow. Okay, let me be honest. I was very shallow because I was not aware of how money is earned, or how you need to think about your career, think about your future. So when it was my pre-teens where I didn't have any clue of what's happening around. The
Mhm.
only thing I was concerned about how to make my parents happy. If I As simple as if I eat my complete portion of food and they are happy, that made my day. So I
Mhm.
was in that protected environment. And um yeah, while I started when I started growing up, when I started realizing the competition, or the girls in school, or the boys in school for that matter, how clear they were with their what they want from life and what they want to do the next day, or even if how they want to celebrate their birthdays. It was as simple as that. But I
Mhm.
really never had clue because I was always dependent on my parents to give me direction.
Mhm.
So for a particular time, I think it was good, and for everyone, it should be there. But
Mhm.
after a certain point in time in age, I think it didn't work well for me initially.
I think you have a point here because a lot of parents, try to protect their children from everything. They try to feel that no, they'll grow up and face, but I think that's not right. You need to give them a lot of exposure. Need to let them go out there and see what the world is all about, because that is the reality, and that they will have to face sooner or later. You can't kind of turn away from that fact. So you do have a point here. I agree with you. But I think most
And
parents end up
also,
doing that.
yeah, and also, if I may add, Sangeeta, nowadays I really see this culture where everyone is talking about how we can change the school education, how we can include life lessons or life skills into school curriculum.
Hmm.
For me, that is not the first point. I think the parents, and nobody is born as ready parents. So I think a lot of grooming parents should have taken, or should take now, as I, as a parent, should take probably. How do I give those life skills to my children?
Hmm.
Not that I want to ask them, or they should chase their studies straight away and only. But I
Hmm.
should tell them, these are basic things. How do you manage your funds? If I give you 10 rupees, how do you manage that? So I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
the education starts with parents and then school comes. So yes.
absolutely, absolutely. It has to be a mix of both. So tell me, as a child, did you have any aspirations? Did you have any dreams? Something that you thought you would grow up and do?
I did. I did. And it was very dear to me. So I always had this passion for dancing.
Okay.
Had is not the right word. I always have this passion for dancing.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to pursue dancing when I was growing up.
Okay.
There was one particular teacher I distinctly remember. She used to teach me economics in my school because I was a commerce student in school.
Okay.
And I was so fascinated by her, the way she carried herself. She was fierce because she had a lot of knowledge, abundance of knowledge she had.
Mm.
And she, every other teacher or every other student would get intimidated by her. So there were two dreams that I had. One, to dance my heart out
Oh,
every now and then,
all right.
and to be a very, very dominant female, like my teacher. So these
Okay.
were two things that I really wanted to be.
So where are you when it comes to the realization of those dreams now?
So I'd say dream number one, check. Now I dance whenever I want to, so I'm not dependent on anyone.
Okay.
I do need music, but
Mm.
yes, I vibe along whenever I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I still pay my gratitude to my economics teacher. So whenever I go back to my hometown, I do make sure that I meet her and I just spend some time with her. I
Mm.
am not an economics teacher. I do not study. I did not carry, pursue education any further after my graduation. But yes, I'm still fascinated by her, though she's grown old, but she still has the same courage, which keeps me motivated,
You
actually.
got that spark from her.
I think I'd like to dedicate that, and undoubtedly, I really thank her for that because uh, she was fierce. She is still fierce, and somewhere when the entire school was looking up to her for some presentation or something, that whenever she used to walk on stage,
Hmm.
I used to look up to her. So yes, I want to be somewhere. I'm probably somewhere there, but I want to be exactly like her.
Great, great. Actually, teachers do have a very critical role to play in, a student's life. I mean, I belong to that fraternity, and I understand because a lot of students come back to you, and with that they look up to you as a role model. So I think teachers play
Yes,
a very, very critical role. Okay.
I totally agree.
So Priyanka, tell us a little bit about what you do currently, about your profession, about your job profile.
So, Sangeeta, I belong to a risk and controls domain. Now, this is a niche domain,
Okay.
and it is basically how do you create a wall between a company and the external risks that the company might possess or the company might encounter in the near future. So, I work with JP Morgan. I am based out of Mumbai. And there are different verticals in the company. So one of the verticals where I take care of the risk and control space. So I provide that assurance to the company
Okay.
that these verticals or the business that we are carrying is risk free or that it is prone to risk, for example, and these are the controls that we are taking care of. So I do that work. I have a total work experience of approximately 15 years,
All right.
and it started as a with call center, but yes, slowly and gradually I moved to risk and control, and I'm loving this space. I try to pursue further qualifications in the same space. So yes, that's
No.
what I do.
Great, great, great. So also tell us, I mean, some of the challenges that you may have, faced in your journey, Aman. Tell us a little bit about those. I mean, in your profession, and also, I mean, were those challenges because of what you were doing or because of your gender as well? So a bit of both.
That's a great question, Sangeeta. And how I want to answer this, yes, yes, yes. Uh,
Okay.
Not because of what I was doing, but because of my gender.
Hmm.
Uh, there was a very particular instance, and I don't think so I'll be able to ever forget this. It was my first job, and um, I had given birth to my first child.
Okay.
So when I came back from maternity leave, it was already 3 years into that organization, and while all my peers, because it was this, all my peers were getting promoted, so I had a candid conversation, and I, being myself, I've always been very candid and straightforward. I'm calling spade a spade right now as well.
Mhm.
So the moment I asked about the promotion, so this person says that you won't be eligible because you were on maternity. Now this shook me. This has left an imprint on me just because I was out of work for, I think, 4 months, because I'm talking about 2009. So I think at that point in time, it was 3 or 3.5, 4 months that we were eligible for maternity. For 4 months, if I were out, God forbid, if I was, not keeping well, or I needed some medical, attention, then
Mm.
would they have said this? Because my brain didn't stop working. I worked for those 3 years. So that was the most ugly scenario, I would say, as a gender, as a female, I encountered. Uh, and the saddest part is the manager was a female. That
Oh,
was the saddest part.
oh, okay.
Yes,
Right.
yes. And that left me into shreds, because and I did not realize at that point in time, because I was so weak and so timid at that point in time, because I felt that my maternity was a burden. My
Hmm.
maternity was a mistake that I did. It felt me. It made me feel like that. But as over gradually over years, I've realized that this is something that needs to be fixed. As a women manager, you are talking about not to take maternity, or why did you go on maternity, or you'll not be eligible for promotion. That was the I think that's such a pull factor for
Hmm.
any person. I mean, why? And I think, I mean, I don't know if guys do get this question. You were on paternity leave for 15 days, so sorry, you will not be eligible for
Hmm.
promotion.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
such a lame thing. But yes, I did experience that. And of course, I think most of us women, they would have felt it, or they would have experienced it. So I obviously was juggling between my in-laws, or the family, and the work. Um, there are travel commitments which were required in my initial stages of career, which I denied because I could not take those up. And
Hmm.
then you know it's very, very simple. Even if the society has moved way beyond what it was in 2007 or 2009, for that matter, but I
Hmm.
still feel that even if you, as a person, if I'm not attending a family function and I'm working till 12 o'clock at night in the office, I
Hmm.
still would get questions,
Yes.
even if I am a managing director of a company. So
Correct.
that's what I feel. It hasn't happened to me, but I know in bits and pockets I faced this. But yes,
Mhm.
it is still there. I've faced my share of these flack, or I'd say comments. Uh, but yes, I think women should have always supported women in
Yeah.
a
Correct.
scenarios changing, Sangeeta. But there's a long way to go.
There
There
is.
is.
There is. But yes, the positive is that we've made a start, and most of us are realizing this. And I think, step by step, little by little, we will get there, eventually. Okay.
Totally.
Tell me, Priyanka, on a regular day, of course, we are like, we have our work and we have our families and all of that. But, there are days when we are down and out. So, like, as I say, the highs and lows of life. So, how do you cope up with those?
Now it has become easy for me because I've realized what floats my boat. Hashtag, this is something that I've learned from my daughter. But
Mm.
yes, uh, uh, it can be anything. Even if it's just one cup of tea or coffee in the morning, which I want to have in an alone time, or
Mm.
just me time. That that just sorts me out for the entire day, because
Okay.
I do not want to be thinking about things when I'm enjoying that one particular cup of coffee.
Mm.
Similarly, there have been days where the work didn't go well. I
Yeah.
was probably not appreciated for which, or for a thing which I worked really hard, or I
Mm.
had a argument at work or with my kids as well. So there are, and it's very natural. But what I do is, I keep calm. I keep my mouth shut, and I
Mm.
just focus on one thing that probably through the day that keeps me going. So right now it is music or my cup of coffee. But some days it's just walking out of the home or walking out of the office and just probably going to a nearby coffee shop and just sitting there idle. So
Okay.
sitting idle sometimes has really worked wonders for me. I
Oh.
might not be carrying a book always, though I like to read, but right now, if I'm not carrying a book, I probably would sit idle, or I might just go and talk to some stranger, or just vent it out if the other person is ready to listen.
Hmm.
Sometimes, Sangeeta, the listening board also really helped me.
I
So
agree.
I think there are different ways by which you keep yourself motivated. Uh, I also have developed this habit of maintaining my fitness or working out, putting some focus on my health. So yeah, I think that just keeps me going every day.
I know, I kind of see what you're trying to see. Like sometimes you just need a little change of scene. So maybe it is coming to you through your cup of coffee or your book or your workout or, talking to someone. But yes, these are
Absolutely.
different ways that we all have our ways of, coping up with these. Yeah, great, great.
And I really want to add one thing, Sangeeta, that
Yeah.
you know, uh, as women or as men, okay, even if we are taking out 30 minutes or 45 minutes, or let's say 2 hours also for that matter,
Yeah.
in a particular day just for ourselves, please do not have that guilt
Yeah.
inside you that I did not put attention to my kids, or I just missed my work just to get a cup of coffee. That guilt should not remain in you, because until and unless you're in sync with yourself, you'll not be able to do your 100% to
Yeah.
your professional or personal life. So I do not operate on guilt.
Yeah. One should not be having guilt about spending time with oneself. Yeah. So, in your life, of course, I'm sure life has taught you many things, many lessons that you may have learned. So, would you like to share some of those with us? Some of those learnings which you think people can also learn from?
Yes, the biggest one is just completely own it.
Oh,
So a bad decision, a bad choice, a bad route that you've taken while you're traveling.
all right.
Um, um, you've got some bad set of clothes. They're ill-fitted, but you just got them. Just
Hmm,
own it completely. You
hmm,
will never find in this world a person, someone else to put that blame on. I mean, you will find them, but it's such a lame thing. It is so shallow.
hmm,
Why can't we own it? So if I have a choice, I would rather not do it or do it. But whatever it is, even if I've made hundreds of bad decisions in my life,
hmm,
today, proudly, I'd say, these are the 100 list of items, and I'm proudly able to share it with my kids as well.
hmm,
I mean, it's just that, do not find an excuse that because of this, I did not do this. Because of that happened, I was not able to do that. No, you were not able to do that because of your own willpower going weak. That's the
hmm.
only thing. That's
Okay.
one. Um, Secondly, I swear by one rule: I do not expect anything from anyone.
Okay.
So, except for myself. Um, and I don't go too strong on myself nowadays. So I've taken time, I've learned that I cannot be running here and there just to prove myself to someone else. Why would I want to do that? If I
Hmm,
were to prove my worth, it should be just me. When I look into the mirror, it should be just me, Priyanka. You're here and you've achieved or you've not achieved. You're a complete failure or you're a complete success. That should be answerable to me, not to anyone else.
great.
So I do not expect anyone to come and suggest. I do not expect anyone to ask suggestions from me. But
Mhm.
yes, if they want to, it is with a caveat. I can share my experience. You want it, you do not want it, you want to take it or not, it's up to you. So let's not expect anything from each other.
Okay. All right. So own whatever you do and only be answerable to yourself, accountable to yourself.
Absolutely.
That's a great way of
Thank
living.
you.
Yes, true. All right. So, based on that, what would you like to suggest or advise, young girls, of today who are just on the threshold of their lives, personal, professional? What would you like to tell them? I mean, something that you may have felt that you couldn't do it in your life, or you did it, and something, that's something great to be shared with them. So,
Yeah.
tell us something about that.
Um, One, uh, I am so happy and so amazed with the way young girls are grooming themselves up.
Mhm.
It's commendable. I was never in that position or never in that mindset. They are out there. People
Yeah.
can see them. They are more aware. And when I was young, I was living in a cocoon. So yes, I'm totally impressed. Now
Hmm.
the flip side of this is, because they're they're aware, they have a lot of choices,
Yeah.
which also sometimes is a hindrance, because when you get a lot of choices, you tend to get lost also. Not all of them would get lost, but you tend to lose track.
Yeah.
So my only suggestion to probably girls growing up is nothing else matters but to be financially independent,
Okay.
be strong in your head,
Yeah.
and also you should be absolutely clear of what you want. And if you are clear, put it down on a piece of paper, put it as a sticky on your mirror, and look at it daily, and only work for it.
Wow.
There are things which would happen here and there in conjunction, your personal life, your you know uh, 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 very simple, romance will happen, there are friendships, there are courtships, everything will happen. This is a
Yeah. Yeah.
phase, and
Yeah.
it's
Of course.
natural. Okay, nothing to deny about. Everything will happen, but if you stick to what was pasted on your mirror,
Hmm.
trust me, everything is going to fall in line. But if you lose track of that, everything will deter from its own path. So I feel being financially independent and keep that focus in your head always stable. These are the only two things that I want to share with everyone.
Wonderful. I think focus is so very important, because if you lose your focus, then you've basically lost track of everything in life. So that, I think,
Yes.
is, you need to know what you want and then stay focused on that. Very good. Very excellent. So you, of course, now been working for some time, and you were successful in what you are doing. You are following your passion, your heart. So how do you think the world reacts to women who know their minds, who know what they want to do, and they end up doing it? Do they look at them the same way as they look at men, or is there some difference there?
It's a very interesting question, Sangeeta. And the world is accepting
Yeah.
with open hands. Uh, but still, I've always felt that the certain hitch, a CEO, be it a male or a female, they're exactly doing the same sort of work. They're
Yeah.
exactly managing the same strength. So a CEO at X company and a CEO at Y company who's a female, they're managing thousands of people. The nature of the work doesn't change. So why would we want to call them a female or a male CEO? Why can't they just be a CEO? Um, Very simple example, a power lifter. A power lifter, maybe he is lifting 100 kgs, maybe she is also lifting 100 kgs. Why a female power lifter? It should be gender agnostic. Now it's only my thought, okay? I really feel that the moment we call them as female CEO or the female entrepreneur, we've already created a divide. We
Hmm.
should just have called them, Forbes should have just published, top 10 CEOs, but not top 10 female CEOs. Why can't the female CEOs compete with the male CEOs without that male female bar? So, yeah, I think, as I said before, there's a long way to go still. I'm happy that, women are supporting each other. It's evident. I can see that. And true reflection of what women empowerment meant is being seen through a lot of social media channels available. I see it in offices, I see it in personal life. Uh, I think the world has changed, but um, it's calling a black person a black. Sorry to say, I'm not racist, but
Hmm.
uh, you just call us a CEO, or call us a MD, or call us as an entrepreneur. Why a female entrepreneur? That's my take on it.
Okay. So have no, like adjectives, in like linked to that. It's just plain and simple that position or whatever you're
Yes,
doing. Yeah. All right.
yes.
Okay. So something that I have observed now, of course, you are like not in that stage probably, but you may have seen people doing, different things once they reach their, say, midlives, which I sometimes refer to as midlife rebooting. You see suddenly a banker wanting to write, or, getting into a sport, or getting into something which is diametrically opposite from what they'd been doing all their lives. Now, it's not that people in the earlier days didn't have passions or they didn't have interests, but somewhere, what they started out doing, they continue to do that for the rest of their lives. But nowadays, people do switch gears. So, any thoughts on that?
Oh, I love that, and I'd love to be a part of that journey. Actually,
Uh-huh.
it's. I think people have become more forthcoming, and they've accepted. If I'm not finding something as a continuity proposition for me, I might change gears. So I think it's just about accepting.
Hmm, hmm.
Now we've come across that border of, okay, I require a job for my survival. Hundreds and thousands of avenues by which you can maintain your survival. If it's just about maintaining the lifestyle that you have, people have accepted that even if I come two points notched, or 2 points little
Hmm.
lower than what I am currently now, I think they're ready to accept it. But what they want is peace of mind.
Yeah.
So yes, I think acceptance has come across as very evident in today's world, and people switching gears. Trust me, it's the best thing that they do. And even if they fail, going back to the same point, they own it. So that's what I liked about the new age people, or the people that who trying different avenues. They should. I might as well want to do it at some time later, but only when I find what exactly I want
Yeah,
to do
yeah, of
for the
course.
some part of my life. Yes.
That is essential. And you're right, we are becoming more accepting. The society is also becoming more flexible, and people are okay with, people experimenting, failing, or succeeding, whatever it may be. And ultimately, I think peace of mind, happiness is what we're looking for. So if we feel that these are the kind of things in which we can find it, we are, going for it. Okay. So tell me something. Of course, you're a working woman, a wife, a mother, and the various roles that you have to play, like most women. So, any secret sauce, any secret recipe which you have devised to juggle those various roles that you play?
Secret sauce. Um, uh, I like that word. I've heard a lot of times in the corporate environment, but yes, I think every stage in career and in personal life with children around has its own challenges. When the children were small, I used to think that when would they grow up, and I will get some time to work on my office priorities, and I'll not have to attend to them. But when they are little grown up, then they need a different kind of mother support. I need different sort of time with them. So I think it depends on what stage you're in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not no longer juggling for me, Sangeeta, because I've tried to maintain a balance
Mm-hmm.
by when I'm not working, it's 100%, it's either me or them or all three, four of us. And if I'm working, then it's only about my work. So that's the kind of balance I've created. And I make sure that if I'm not working, I do not want to think about work. But if it's something that is important for me, but it is also going to take some time away from the kids, I've told my kids to understand what the situation is,
Mm-hmm.
realize the importance of the situation, and support me during that situation where my mom needs to go out to work. And then they accept it. Once they realize it, I give them an assurance that once I'm back, I'm going to be with you. So I think the understanding has started playing a lot of important role in that whole juggling bit.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I think it's working well. Touch wood, it's working well.
Great, great. I think knowing what you want to do, what you have to do when prioritizing is very important, and then communicating. Like you're saying,
Communicating.
tell your children. So you communicate to them, you explain it to them. And then I think once you communicate, everybody understands. It's not
Yes.
like people won't. I mean, unless they have made it, a point to not understand. Otherwise, most people will understand. So I think
I
prioritizing and communicating, they are very,
Yes.
very critical in this. All right. So where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
I do my see myself a lot more fitter.
Okay.
Um, maybe traveling with the backpack. I do see
All right.
myself with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I I would really want to see myself clapping for my children wherever they are.
Okay.
feeling proud for them as a mother. That doesn't go away from me.
Mhm.
But in totality, eventually I want to see myself speaking somewhere where there are lots and lots of women you know, and they looking up for some answers which have never been answered, because I really feel since there is a long way to go, there will be a lot of opportunity areas coming across our way where we can help each other. So, uh, women supporting women, I'm the first one to stand in that queue and wait for long hours to get my turn and address those.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a great set of things that you are looking forward to. Okay, so Priyanka, all said and done. Final question. Can a woman have it all?
Why not? Very simple. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. My answer is a total yes in bold capital letters, because no, I mean, there's nothing that can hold back a woman. It is here, all here. If
Yeah.
if I am not giving 100% to my work because of XYZ reasons, it's all with me. I cannot blame it onto my children. They're not calling me.
Yeah.
Then my relatives are not calling me to be there. I always have a choice. So, whenever we have a choice, the decision is already there in our heads, but we don't want to act upon it just because we want to please someone. So I
Mm.
think a woman can have it all, Sangeeta, to your question, undoubtedly, fearlessly, without any guilt, without any hitch. The only thing is we need to own it completely. Whatever we do, the minor step, most minor step that we take, we just need to own it completely, and we'll be all there.
Great. Yes, I agree with you. It is up to us. And like you said, it's all there, it's all in our heads. If we, stop ourselves or restrain ourselves, then we've got only ourselves to blame. We always have
Yes.
a choice, and sometimes the choice may be a difficult choice, but then you cannot please all. And pleasing people should not, I think, should be the least of your priorities. You can't, of course,
Please.
it's not that you are doing something wrong or something, but just doing something because you don't have the guts to own it or to say no to somebody, that should
Yes.
not be the reason. Otherwise, of course, it is like they say, the world is our oyster and we can kind of go and have it all. All right. So thank you, Priyanka. It was indeed wonderful having this conversation with you and getting such, your viewpoints very strongly worded and very strongly put. And I think if we have such kind of women, there is no way that we cannot have it all, and there is no way that we can grow and be there for each other as a community. So it was really wonderful talking to you. I hope you had a great time on the show.
I did, Sangeeta, and trust me, I think the energy is matched. I really want to have a maximum outreach. I would really want your channel to have really good outreach to people. There are a lot of women who want to listen to you, to your thoughts, and the way that you're conducting these podcasts, I think that's immense. You're targeting and you're hitting the nail by on its head. So I think you're doing a great job. I love to be
Thank
here
you.
and talking to you. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much. It is, it does a lot to your confidence when you hear someone say that, because of course there's all good intention behind it. And of course there is work behind it, but then the ultimate thing is to be there for each other. So I think, yes, we are on the same page as far as that is concerned. So thank you once again. Great to have you.